What if God is a brutal authoritarian? If you don't pay your taxes, you'll go to jail. If you don't believe in God, you'll go to hell. But of course, each is voluntary, and you still have the free will to object. The libertarian in me, of course, sees this as sort of a bizarre. If anyone were to say that, oh, it's all set up, the idea of government, the idea of God, of statism, of democracy, it's all sort of a scam or a conspiracy theory to fool us into various things or to get us divided. This is the kind of thing that you want to see because it's so obvious and it plays out in society over and over again. And the way we are pitted against each other. And this is a prime example of how. But going further into this, if force against peaceful individuals is wrong, then why would God do it to those who peacefully reject him? The reason we object to the income tax is because it's backed up by force. Therefore, there's no freedom or free will to choose otherwise without the potential for serious repercussions. Thus, it's not really a choice and is a tyrannical act of force against peaceful individuals, and I believe therefore wrong. We see the reality of the income tax. It's the act of a brute or tyrant, not the act of a peaceful or benevolent person. Well, when it comes to this belief in a hell, in a physical hell, I see the same glaring contradictions, only this one is much bigger and really more problematic. You have free will to choose to believe in God, but if you don't if you don't believe in God, then you'll be burnt in perpetual agony. Yet, of course, they still claim that you have free will. So it's ironic to me because if God cannot even grant his own creation, his own people that he created, if he cannot even grant them liberty, what makes any of us think, at least any Christians, think it comes from God? And if it does, then why hold the threat of hell over our heads when doing so is basically a shakedown by an intellectually weak or dishonest authoritarian or brute? Now, as I say here, it is posed predominantly for people who are Christians and believe in a physical hell. Now, I still consider myself Christian. I just, unfortunately, there are so many contradictions in the message of modern Christianity. There are so many problems in translations and fear, hang-ups. I mean, just all kinds of, and we're talking about pretty important stuff. So I do have a tendency to be rather ambivalent when it comes to the Bible itself or Scripture, because you could take one Scripture and 15 people, scholars, can read it and come to 10 different conclusions from it. And that's kind of a problem for something as important as what's supposed to be the doctrine of God. Well, if it's the doctrine of God, then there should be no ambivalence. There should be no question. So I have a tendency to try to keep things in reality, keep things in what we know. What we know is good, is non-aggression, is peaceful. Non-aggression would really be the better way of saying it. If anyone commits acts of aggression against peaceful individuals, then I consider that to be wrong. Therefore, when you consider what modern day Christianity, at least the Bible thumpers who claim that you go to hell if you don't agree with them or believe in them, they're nothing but tyrants. And their God is nothing but a tyrant who I would never want to support or join. In a sense, it would be Satan. And that's the way I sort of think about these things. And I sort of formulate it in my own mind. Whether or not someone out there can reinterpret Scripture to support my thinking, I don't particularly care. What I do know is that for me in my current life, I feel comfortable with the concept that probably the mainstream thought of God or what it is or what Christianity is probably preaching more towards what I would view Satanism as. Control, hatred. You're disgusting. You're despicable because you're human. I hate you. I'm going to control you. That's how I view this. So, anyways, I'd like to hear your thoughts. See ya.